Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Colin Lowenberg. Thank you guys for joining us for a very special Meet MobileCoin today. We have on with us Faisal Al Mutar, who you'll get to meet today from Ideas Beyond Borders. Also, moderating the conversation, we'll have Joshua Goldbard, the CEO and founder of MobileCoin. Before we get started, I just want to introduce everybody to the Signal Messenger app's new wallet. If you don't already have Signal installed, install Signal on your device. And on your mobile device, you can actually activate payments now. This is important because we're actually going to give everyone who joins this call some MobileCoin. That MobileCoin will be sent directly to your wallet. We'll show you how to get that MobileCoin as part of an airdrop today in the middle of this call. If you have any questions, we'll provide support on Discord. As well, you'll be able to then donate that MobileCoin to a charity of your choosing, Ideas Beyond Borders or Peace, Love, and Liberty, and Stand with Ukraine, the Student Federation of Ukraine. So with all due aside, I'd like to introduce Joshua Goldbard, the CEO and founder of MobileCoin. Hi, Josh. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Colin.
And Josh, maybe you can introduce Faisal for us.
Yeah, Faisal Saeed Al Mutar is a dear friend of mine. He runs Ideas Beyond Borders. It's an organization that is doing translation of Wikipedia for critical thinking knowledge in the Middle East. They've translated over 40,000 articles already, and they continue to do this mission of translating knowledge for Arabic-speaking audiences. Faisal, can you please tell us a little bit about your mission and how you got here?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me again. The mission of the organization is making inaccessible ideas accessible with a focus on open source information like Wikipedia. And my story began is that I lived under authoritarianism under the regime of Saddam Hussein. And we used to only have two channels owned by the states. And the punishment for owning a satellite television or accessing information from overseas is jail or death. So later on, after the war in 2003, Iraq, it moved from 1984 to Brave New World, in which we moved to a post-truth world. From not only there's now so much information, but very little factual information. So that brings in the kind of the combination of now Ideas Beyond Borders is that we make knowledge accessible, but at the same time we teach people critical thinking in which they can know how to navigate the information around them. We have about roughly by now 6 million subscribers across the region, not just in Iraq, but all across from Egypt to Morocco and other places. And as of August last year, we expanded our efforts to Afghanistan. So now we also translate in the two languages spoken in Afghanistan, which is Dari and Pashto, and also we added Kurdish a year before. So we try to cover as many languages as possible with really a focus on countries that really need us the most.
How many translators are in your organization now?
So roughly 200. And our definition of translator is we have a kind of a full process in which we have translators followed by editors followed by proofreaders. And the goal is to make sure that all of our translations are up to quality. We even have a team of advisors of people who are linguists, because some of the words, especially when it comes to scientific terminology, etc., some of the terms are not available in Arabic because of the lack of scientific research and development. So we have a group of people that we reach out to them that can help us in guiding some of the translations we do.
So it's the middle of the night in Europe, and Andreas is not available for this phone call. I would love if you could tell us a little bit about how you met Andreas, and we can talk a little bit about the work that he's doing right now.
Sure. So my organization, Ideas Beyond Borders, is part of a network of many organizations that care about the cause of freedom, human rights, and equality for all. And that network is called Atlas Network. And I met Andreas through the vice president of our programs, who's Dr. Tom Palmer. And he introduced us, and I got to know more about his work and also the work of the organization that he's working now with most is the Students for Freedom in Ukraine. The Students for Freedom in Ukraine at the conference in Miami a couple months ago is the organization that actually won the award of the Atlas Network for their work, not just in Ukraine, but also helping freedom in Belarus. And I was really impressed with their work, and the fact is that they are very grassroots oriented. They have reach all across the Ukraine and multiple areas there, and also the fact that their values really is what I think Ukraine is now, the conflict is about, which is the values of freedom versus the values of authoritarianism. So they really this group in a way like resembles what this conflict, in my opinion, is about. And thanks for MobileCoin and for you guys to actually helping and trying to bring awareness to this organization, but also supporting them.
And I think one of the most difficult things is just thinking about operating in conflict zones. There's a level of sort of operational security that you have to have. I know that your organization runs entirely on Signal for messaging right now. And what I've been really interested in is that in this conflict, we've seen the movement of money actually take place through Signal as well. Andreas has said that MobileCoin is the easiest and fastest way to move money for humanitarian aid into a conflict zone. In fact, if you want to donate to Andreas and the Students for Freedom who are journeying to Ukraine on Friday with a 10-car convoy full of food, medicine, and water headed to Kharkiv, Kiev, all of the major cities in Ukraine, you can do that by donating to +49 176 473 40604. Again, that's +49 176 473 40604. All you have to do is connect to that number on Signal and hit the plus button to send a payment. That's it. Can you, Faisal, please tell us what it's like normally for you to send money into conflict zones to compensate your translators?
Sure. So many of our translators and teams live in countries with other than the side that they are authoritarian, but also with very archaic business systems, business infrastructure. There are very little banks in some countries across the region that allow, for example, for wire transfer. But countries like Iraq is very difficult to translate. That's not necessarily anything to do with sanctions at the moment, because Iraq is away from that place. But at the same time, the infrastructure is archaic. Most people are unbanked. Most people don't. Is mostly a cash-based society. It is based on money transfer. There are some companies, which I'm sure many of you know, like Western Union, etc., that charge a lot of fees and they take a lot of time. So I've always been kind of an advocate. That was prior to me knowing about MobileCoin, about the fact that there needs to be kind of a more technological, advanced way of doing it in kind of low fees, and also the elements of encryption. And also the additional part is that, as I said, many of them live under authoritarian regimes. And the fact is that some of our work, not all, but some of it, unfortunately, because it touches on values like human rights and values like equality and freedom, this is something that authoritarians don't like much. So as a result, the work that they are doing, well, in many countries and in the free societies, you would think is like, why would the translation of the Bill of Rights or anything could be a problem? But unfortunately, in some of those countries where we work at, this is a problem. And now we're implementing more and more the fact that they can actually utilize MobileCoin as a way in which they can receive the funds. And at the same time, we always encourage them that they should follow also basic direction in terms of digital security, getting a VPN installed on their phones and also on their computers, and make sure that the message and the people that they are talking to are people that they know and they verify, not get sometimes, as you know, like in some of these societies. I remember I was in Syria about a decade ago, and the taxi driver kept bashing the government. He's like, they're stealing our money. These are bad people. And what I learned is that actually the taxi driver is part of the intelligence services. And they're trying to kind of get you to say things. So in that way you report them. So it gives you like the instance in which like, oh, this is bad. This government is not treating us well, etc. But they're trying to do is actually navigate where you stand. And that is
Wow.
unfortunately the case of a lot of countries. Where I grew up in Iraq, that was the case in prior to 2003. It was believed, at least that's the rumor, was 1 out of 4 adults, one is in the intelligence services. So which means is that pretty much whether it's a group of friends or even a group of your best friends, everybody is afraid of everybody. So in that way, they create a society in which you could not trust anyone, and you think that everybody's gonna report you. So it's very important that like people know who they're talking to and not reveal a lot of information about where they live and where they work, etc. And thank goodness for yeah.
It's super interesting to think about societies through the lens of social surveillance versus technological surveillance. And there are certainly societies that actually have both
Yes.
technological and social surveillance. And it's just got to be incredibly hard to operate in places like that. If you're trying to do humanitarian work, if you're trying to do anything that has to do with human rights, it's got to be so difficult to work in those regions. I just want to thank you very much for being willing to do that. Can you talk a little bit about the benefits of your work? What have you seen in terms of change from the work that you've done in the regions that you are operating?
Sure. One of the really inspirational, I mean, one of the most, I would say, amazing things about Ideas Beyond Borders and really the work that I do, that I work with a lot of inspirational people. And the fact that it's not just they see it as my mission, but also they see it as their mission. And they're the ones who, I mean, in this organization, well, I'm from the Middle East and I'm the kind of the leader of it. It's also led by people from there. And and one of the interesting things that we get is that people like some of these translators and the team, they're like, this is the first time somebody tell us what do you think, or they ask us the question, what do you think? Because this is not a question that sometimes get asked to people over there. Most people unfortunately get forced to think in a certain way, or there's the approved way of thinking about things. And I think that the main thing that we are seeing a lot of change and really we're getting a lot of kind of positive responses frequently, is that people thanking us for really giving them the knowledge and also the critical thinking tools that allows them to allow them to think for themselves. And that's, I think, is the best gift I think we can give to people living in authoritarian societies, is really the power of thinking for themselves. Last year, we had roughly, if I'm not mistaken, roughly about 50 million views for our content. That includes articles, videos, and long form content like books. And we're hoping to double that and really continue to reach as many people as possible, including those who might not agree with us, but at the same time understand that it is as it is the freedom for them to have their own beliefs. It's allow others to have their own beliefs as well. So we're hoping to reach as many people as possible in the region. Maybe one day we can go global and go to more countries, not just in the Middle East, but in other places that need us.
So I want to transition really quick to the ability to donate using our Signal bot. We're having some issues actually reaching Andreas directly right now. So if you're using the +49 number, this is actually going to be a more efficient way for you to donate right now. So on your mobile device, if you go to MobileCoin.money, you can click message on Signal. That will load you into Signal, and then you can say give. This will allow you to communicate with a bot which will escrow the money on behalf of Students for Freedom. All you have to do is choose Students for Freedom from the prompt that will come after you say give, and then you'll be able to donate directly there. The issue that we're having right now with the +49 number is that's actually Andreas directly, and you can send money to Andreas directly, but because of the way that Signal works with verification before being able to receive money, you actually need to be present to be able to receive the money. This is a security feature that's built into Signal. What we've done is that we've created a bot infrastructure that comes from a team at MobileCoin called Forest that allows us to escrow these funds on behalf of these charities. So all you have to do, once again, is go to MobileCoin.money, click message on Signal, and then inside of Signal, you will just say give. Again, this has to be done from your cell phone. and then you choose which organization to give to. It's a very simple prompt. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us. We are activating these services today. It's been a whirlwind of a day. We're just incredibly proud of the work that is happening. If you don't have any MobileCoin, we're actually going to do an airdrop in just a few minutes to help you get your first coins. So, Faisal, let me just come back and ask you a little bit about what are some of the proudest moments that you've had in your Ideas Beyond Borders journey?
There are many. One of the proudest moments I would say it's kind of very recent, when we helped rebuild with a coalition one of the big libraries that ISIS destroyed, and we were the donors of. We were able to support that library with books, and the smile that we saw on the head of the librarians and also the students who came and kind of witnessed that the kind of the recreation of that library is something I'm still thinking about, still trying to process, actually, because this is one of the largest universities and in the country, in Iraq, and the kind of that hope that these books and that creation of library was able to get is amazing. The other
It's really
thing,
incredible. I mean, the thing about just the destruction of knowledge and conflict is so terrible. And I just want to say thank you for being willing to put yourself out there and work on getting knowledge back into the hands of people who need it so desperately. Please continue. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, thank you. And really the other thing is now, and that's to some extent is technological, but also emotional, is because we have added roughly, as you said, 40,000 articles and more. We're adding roughly like 30-40 articles a day. Is the fact that now, like, artificial intelligence and some of the tools that people can use to actually artificially translate are actually now working much better as they used before we existed. So now, not with some errors, but at the same time able to kind of translate paragraphs, etc. People can access and be able to achieve to see knowledge that's not yet translated, and at least get the idea of that of what's being translated. So really adding roughly, I think by now, 50 million words into Arabic internet in 5 years have dramatically is even changing the landscape of information. Now pretty much everything related to human rights, to science, to philosophy, to history, etc., that you can search on Arabic is now available in Wikipedia. And I think that I would say is one of my biggest pride moments. Is like sometimes I just like I click on something that I've seen in English about the Renaissance or something, and I go languages and I click on Arabic, and the article is available, and the history says it's added by Ideas Beyond Borders. And
Wow.
that's I would say is a constant pride that I have, and really the credit goes to the team. I think what I love about the work is that I think like there were a lot of conditions that allowed me to start this, with being able to be in a kind of that I don't have to look over my shoulders all the time as I was living in the Middle East, and being able to think and try to help people. But really, the credit goes a lot to the translators who constantly do the work and make knowledge accessible.
So I'm just going to spend a couple minutes talking about the Students for Freedom mission and the work that they're doing right now in Ukraine. And then right after that, we're going to jump into the airdrop. So Ukrainian Students for Freedom is an organization that has been working all over Ukraine and all over the region to help establish systems for educating people on freedom, human rights, what is actually happening. They went and made a documentary in Crimea in 2015. It was actually illegal for European citizens to travel to Crimea, but they flew to St. Petersburg and drove directly into Crimea and made a documentary at that time. In addition, what they're doing right now is getting real, instantaneous humanitarian aid directly into the hands of Ukrainians. What is happening is that because MobileCoin allows you to send money instantaneously, and because you can do it with just a phone number, they're able to actually do very high-scale distribution of assets incredibly fast directly to individuals in the country that they already have existing trust relationships with. This would not have been possible with any banking system, and it has a far lower barrier of entry than any other crypto payment system. Again, all you need is your phone number and the Signal app. And so what they have done is that they're doing on-the-ground direct distribution of resources that allows people to pay for things in country. But in addition, they have currently built out a 10-car convoy that is filled with medicine, food, and water. And they're going to be driving that through Poland into Ukraine. And they're going to go all the way to Kharkiv, which is one of the most bombarded cities in the entire conflict zone. And they're going to deliver resources, and they're going to attempt to do that loop multiple times. And I cannot say how much I appreciate the bravery of people being willing to do this humanitarian work. Humanitarian work in conflict zones, as you know very well, Faisal, is an incredibly difficult thing. And I just want to say that we are incredibly thankful for Andreas and his team for having the willingness to brave those difficult conditions to get the food, medicine, and water to people in need. So now we're going to do the airdrop. We can bring that up on screen. All you need to do is go to mobilecoin.money and click message on Signal. It's the same bot infrastructure that powers the giving. If you say the secret password, you just got to type this into the message bar, peace, love, liberty 0302. Again, the secret password is peace, love, liberty 0302. We will send you your first mobile coins so that you're able to actually donate to the causes that you care about. And again, to donate, we can bring the donation screen back up. So if you want to donate, again, to that same bot, all you do is type give, and there'll be a simple prompt that you can fill out and respond to that will allow you to donate mobile coins. We will escrow those for the Students for Freedom and then instantaneously distribute them at Andreas's orders once he comes back online. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you for giving. Thank you for caring about Ukraine. Thank you for caring about humanitarian causes. We really appreciate that you're willing to help us do this work. Faisal, I would love to come back to you and just ask if you have some words for Ukraine, if you have some words for what people are going through right now. I know you've been through a lot of war conflict in your life.
Sure. I mean, the heroism and the level of resilience that we're seeing from many of the people that I've been in touch with, like from the students of Ukraine, Students of Freedom, is something that I think the whole world should know. It is to be in this constant bombardment and constant conflict. I mean, I've been there on a personal level, and it's really difficult to kind of pull yourself up and try to do something for other people. Generally, the usual response is try to run away for your life and try to escape. But the fact that many of these people, including women who actually are allowed to leave legally, still some of them decided to stay and try to help other fellow Ukrainians and also help the cause. So I cannot stop emphasizing about how heroic and amazing these people are, and I hope that through this talk and others and advocacy work that's being done about them is for these people and these stories to live with us forever. These are human stories, and the people there really are leading it. So I'm very happy to know these people and connect to them, and happy to connect them into the MobileCoin community and then people around the world.
Faisal, let me ask you what might be an emotional question. How do you stay sane when bombs are going off around you? How did you do that?
Am I saying that's a question? Well, I mean, I can tell you when I was in that constant conflict is the first time I saw somebody being killed. It was one of the most. I was devastated, and there were nights and nights I was not able to sleep. But really, what kept me going were my friends and the people around me, and the people who stayed alive, who told me, like, when you are in a constant kind of constant, you see death very frequently. You start to appreciate life more, and you are in that kind of this mode in which, on one hand, you see death, because you see death around you, and the fact that you might be killed or dead at any moment, you start to appreciate the times that you have with your friends and your family. So that's the kind of the positive outcome, I would say. But really, I don't wish it for my enemies. That being in a constant fear and looking over your shoulders. I remember it was I was in my friend's patio in Brooklyn, and out of nowhere it came to me that I've been safe for a couple of years, and I wasn't looking over my shoulders walking around in the street, and it kind of just that feeling of really not being constantly alert, and having to look around all the time, saying saying bye to your mother when you go to school is not going to be your last time, and having that constant really feeling of fear, especially for your loved ones and for yourself, is something I wouldn't wish for anybody. It's difficult, and it's hard to put that in words sometimes.
Faisal, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I just really appreciate the way you wear your heart on your sleeve, and just, I'm sorry you've been through so much, and I wish peace for everybody in this life. I am very, very hopeful that the world returns to sanity and moves away from conflict. It's the only rational place to be, is peace. So
Amen.
Thank you. Amen. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate Ideas Beyond Borders.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys too.
And I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been hosting this. Thank you to Colin. Thank you to the MobileCoin team. Thank you to Students for Freedom. Again, all you have to do is go to mobilecoin.money if you want to donate to these causes. You just go and click message on Signal, hit give, and it'll walk you through a series of prompts, and that'll help you get the money directly to humanitarian aid in Ukraine, including a 10-car convoy that is delivering food, water, and medicine to bombed cities in Ukraine. Thank you so much. We are so appreciative. Colin?
Thank you very much, Josh. And if you guys are still due to Signal, please activate your payments in order to receive the airdrop. You can go into Signal, go to settings, payments, activate payments. And one more time, just for those of you who don't have MobileCoin and don't have Signal with your MobileCoin already in it, you can go to mobilecoin.money, message on Signal, and say peace, love, and liberty 0302 to get a nice airdrop. And then right when you're done with that, you can then give that MobileCoin to the charity of your choice. So thank you guys for joining us. I look forward to next week, and I look forward to tallying up all of the money that's been donated and sending it to the charities in need. So thank you guys.